This is a video demonstration of my Azure Kubernetes Service, eBPF-based networking and security, and integration into Microsoft Sentinel. Um, Now, what this is, it, basically, I've just been playing around with the cool tech and integrating them together, and I've just put together a proof of concept, all in Terraform. And this, what I want this video demonstration to be is just sort of showing what it all looks like at the end, not really diving into each individual bits of technology. There is a bunch of Terraform to go along with this. It's quite a lot actually. It's a bit of a Frankenstein because it's so well. It's covered in the blog. But there's like an awful lot. It's not that straightforward to set all this stuff up basically. Um, and it's all in Terraform, so you've just got like a single click. I mean, you can see here. It takes half hour. It takes half hour to deploy. But what I wanted was just something where you just click apply and it runs. So that's including, all the permissions, all the users. I'm using a Helm provider in Terraform, and look at this for Cilium. I mean, there's a lot to it. And then even the demo app, I'm using kubectl and stuff like that. So it's not pretty code, but I wanted it. There's no modules or anything either. I just wanted it something real like flat and easy for people to reverse engineer, and so they can pick apart, pieces that they might find useful. So before I get started, the first thing I need to do actually is I've got the first thing I need to do is update my kubeconfig. Yeah, if I just quickly show you actually, if I do kubectl get pods or namespaces, here we go. You can see here that I've got Cilium deployed in the kube system. It's got the Azure Monitor agent. It's got Envoy working. There's no kube proxy in here. I've got Tetragon running, all in the kube system, which is a bit of a contentious point, but whatever. And then I've got a demo app running as well. One of the things you need to do for Cilium is by default it won't log anything. Like it allows all networking, but I don't think it logs anything. So I've got a network policy that I'm just going to quickly apply here. Set that off as I talk about some of the stuff in here, some of the components. So yeah, well, I suppose that's the first place to start is with Cilium. They've got this network policy editor, and you can build up your real fine-grained policies. But for what I want for this demo, I just kind of want everything. What I've done is I've deployed this AKS store demo. I was going to build my own app, but I really it's not worth it for what I'm trying to get out of this at the moment. And this is just an app that's meant to be deployed in Kubernetes, and it's just got it's like a fake shop, and it's got a queue, and it just generates a bit of noise and a bit of traffic. So it's quite useful to actually show stuff off. I haven't deployed this properly in that I'm just going to go to these public IPs to get onto the apps. But whatever. So that one there is the Contoso admin portal for this fake web shop. I think there's like a thing to generate orders and stuff like that as well. And then the other one is the actual shop front. So if I do that, right? So this is the shop front, and then yeah, you can they're like dog toys or cat toys or something. I can't remember. Yeah, pet toys. Go to the cart, check them out. I mean, this is just out on the internet, right? Like anyone could do this, but it's only going to be up online for like an hour or so. I don't really care. Here we go. So I think you start to see some orders trickle through. Oh, maybe not. It's not my apps. If it's crap, don't blame me. There we go. It's come through. Yeah, it's all like random stuff, and then you can like complete an order, or you can edit the product names, I guess, and then go to the Seafarers. Did that save? Product. Okay. I'm just basically trying to generate some traffic here, but is all I'm trying to get out of that just real quickly. Okay, this app. Right. I think that's done some stuff. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, so reality is, in a real environment, you craft your own Cilium network policy. You have a real fine grain control, and if the whole point is that you can like replace the kube proxy, and you've got all the eBPF based routing. You don't have all that IP tables hackery. And what you can also do is implement Envoy for the ingress, which means that like you get layer 7 inspection in Cilium, which is super useful. Like, well, I say useful, it's pretty powerful because you can like inspect HTTP headers. It's like you get like a basic WAF type functionality, but using eBPF natively built into your cluster, which I think is so cool and it's got a lot of potential. In fact, I've got another demo that I have, or I don't know, I may share it. I was kind of working on it, which is kind of reminds me of this. If anyone's ever seen this before, oh my gosh, 5 years old, the CloudFront WAF thing where you, you get a secret and you stick it in front of the WAF and then you rotate it every so often or whatever. Um, you can kind of do that with Cilium as your ingress as well, right? And Azure Key Vault. And I've got a proof of concept. If anyone's interested, I might do a blog on that at some point. Um, but yeah, I'm not going to go into the weeds of everything here too much. I just want to show off how it all kind of works. So I've got the Cilium CLI installed. So if I do Cilium status here, you should see that everything is pretty happy. Getting to this stage, just getting Cilium installed on AKS is so much more painful than it should be. And if you read the accompanying blog, you'll see why, basically. One of the things I really like, as you'll see from the other blogs I've been doing fairly recently, I'm really getting interested in like observability engineering, and that's one of the reasons I got into playing around with this. And you'll notice I've got Hubble up and running on this cluster as well. And let's have a little look at this. Now I've got that network policies working. Hopefully we can start to see some stuff in here. I don't really know how to use Hubble that much, but it looks pretty. Um, so here you can just see all this traffic coming through here. You don't have to use this UI to inspect your Cilium traffic, right? But I think it's pretty cool. So I think source identity here, world, means like from the internet. And it's pretty cool that it just builds out this map based off the network traffic. Yeah, and you can, I think it hides some stuff by default. Here we go. I don't know. It's a pretty graph, and you can, yeah, if there was issues going, in fact, there were issues, weren't there? I don't know if it was a network issue or just the app, but I wonder if anything's on here. No, nothing's dropped. Anyway, I just wanted to demonstrate that that is there if you want to play around with it and learn. Like, this is great, right? I've got all this traffic coming through. You can see all the health checks every so often, and I've got a little app, and it's all just there to upskill. But that's not that interesting. One of the things I wanted to demonstrate, which I've been playing around with, is Tetragon. So with Tetragon, you can either like monitor like low-level syscalls. Well, you can do loads of stuff with it, or yeah, low-level syscalls, or like file reads and things like that. And you have a Tetragon policy. So I've got two here. I've got like Tetragon file monitoring enforce, Tetragon file monitoring .yaml. I think I just got them from the website. I started this ages ago, and then I picked it back up recently. But yeah, this one, the read only, will just log. So what I'm saying here is I'm like looking for these specific files as if they're like potentially suspicious. Do you know what I mean? So the one that this whole demo is around is etc shadow. But again, it's not so much like this specific example. It's just demonstrating the technologies. And then the other one I've got is enforce, which will actually, where is it? Bear with me. I think there's a few things. This one, it will seek kill. It will actually kill that process. So what I shall do is apply Tetragon file monitoring.yaml. So that is applied. And then if I get the pods in that namespace here, what I'm going to do, it's probably not a far cry to imagine that this app has an RCE in it and someone's exploited it as an example. So let me just exec in and like fake an RCE on here. Oh, in fact, actually, what I need to show you before I do that is something else actually. If I do this, kubectl get pods kube system. So you can see Tetragon basically runs it the way I've installed it, runs in the kube system namespace. So what you need to do is once that policy is enabled, it's working. But if you want to like learn and debug and check that your policies are working as you expect, there's a CLI called Tetragon CLI that you can install. And then you can run like this command. Just grabbing it from my clipboard here. So what this is saying is grab the logs for basically these pods here and export to standard out, and then pipe that into the Tetragon CLI and just show me what's going on basically. And I've said like filter it out by the store admin because this could be numerous pods. So let me run that. There we go. Right now let me exec into that admin pod, one that's been it's got an RC in it or something. kubectl exec. I'm sure there's a more glamorous way of doing this. Here we go. Right. So Tetragon is running because they assigned that policy. It's already doing stuff in the background, but like this is just a way of debugging it and seeing it in real time. So you can see here, it's logging that a process has been open, like the shell has been opened on that pod, which is pretty cool. So I can do stuff like ls, and Tetragon picks it up. I can basically anything I do because of my policy, my Tetragon policy, where it will pick it up. So I can say hello, but that wasn't picked up because I don't think it's in my policy. But what was in there, as you saw, was cutting out etc shadow. Here we go, and you see here it's gone a bit. I think these must be the full traces of it, the process and the reader. I'm not too sure. So that's pretty cool that Tetragon can do that. But this whole demo is not just about that. It's about like integrating into Microsoft Sentinel, and the blog will go into that in a lot more detail. But what I want to show you is if I go to Azure, go to Microsoft Sentinel, go to my deployment, all of this again, right? It's just one-click deployment. You'll have everything in here. Let me just quickly go to the instance, get that auto refreshing. Yes, nice. So I have deployed an analytics rule here. Oh no, I haven't. It's disabled. Enable it. And it's got this query here, which is pretty basic. Query tag does not match. I don't know what's going on there. It's classic Azure. Classic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to query. In fact, what I'll do is this. If I just do something like this, I don't recommend this query because it's expensive. This is saying search everything and show me how many logs you've got. So it's pretty verbose what I've set up here. Obviously, I wouldn't be recommending doing that in production, but we've got what 9,000 logs at the moment. It's only been up for a little while across like I suppose 3 useful tables here. But the one we're really interested in is this container log v2 table. So let me just run this top bit of query here. Container log v2 where container name equals like the standard out things. That's nothing to do with me running this, by the way. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, here you go. You can see stuff here that those Tetragon pods are spitting out loads and loads of logs, but we need to really parse and process all of these logs. So that's what this query basically does. I'm saying like parse that JSON here, extract the workload, which is like a component of that. I'll show you. So it's this bit here. So it's the same rabbit MQ. Now I'm saying what I really should say is where workload equals store admin, but whatever, proof of concept. But what I'm saying here is where process arguments contains etc shadow. And hopefully my logs have come through. And here we go. We've got a log. So that is, well, basically, let me just do the rest of the query now. The binary that was used, bin, cat, and the arguments was etc shadow. So that has come from my container. That wasn't that long ago, right? I just did that in real time, 3 minutes ago, I think. And then if Sentinel chooses to be my friend, it will pick that up. Now, what you can do is, here's a little trick. If you disable an analytics rule and rerun it, it should trigger it, I think. It's meant to run every 5 minutes, this particular rule, I think. Yeah, but I'm just super impatient. So that should, in a second, that's on auto refresh. That should come through in a second, hopefully, if I've set the rule up correctly. Just while that's doing its thing, what I will do is show you the other thing, which was the blocking of the syscall. So if I do kubectl apply -f tetragon enforce, right? So I've changed the policy and I'm still on that same pod, right? In fact, I'll rerun that debug so you can see what's going on. But now, if I do etc shadow, killed. It's killed the process. And I just think like that's so cool. It's such a cool, like it's like a, what's the word? It's like a super low overhead, really, using eBPF, but such a powerful capability. And it just makes me wonder, like, is there going to be a shift? Is this, I mean, I know that a lot of the big tools out there use eBPF, but I think just seeing it in this application just really blows my mind. Like, does that mean that web app security doesn't matter as much now because you know, you can just protect the syscalls and make sure that this container is only running the exact process it's meant to. I know you can do that already, but I just think it's really cool. Right, why is my incident not triggering here? Come on, wakey wakey. We're not leaving until there's an incident. Might be a long night. Oh, it's there at last. Here we go. So there we go. Now we've got an incident based off of, unusual shadow fire activity, whatever. Again, it doesn't really matter too much. It's just about proving the concept of all these technologies together. So, oh yeah, I hope you liked it. I hope it's inspired you to have a play around and take this further. I think this space is really quite immature because ultimately you need all your Cillian policies, which are probably bespoke to your organization. But even the tetragon policies, there's a lot of like generic security things. What I'd love to do is develop a lot of the tetragon policies and then the equivalent in KQL. So you can say, right, here's some sort of standard things you want to block within your pods and your containers, um, and here's how you can like alert on them if something suspicious comes up. So if you like search for like container log v2 or some of the other tables that I mentioned, and you just take a look through the Azure Sentinel GitHub repo, Microsoft Sentinel. There's nothing really. There's like 3 or 4 entries here, and they're all for like workbooks. They're not actually like threat hunting or analytics or anything like that. So I think this is a space that's pretty immature, but um, excited to see where it goes. Definitely. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.